I want to start talking about Wall Street.
Right.
The worst week for the Dow ever. How do you think Democrats are better positioned to help the economy right now?
Well, first of all, I think that Democrats understand in order to have a free market economy that functions effectively, but which also doesn't take unnecessary risk and expose people to losses like we've seen in the last 2 weeks, you have to have smart, effective regulation, something the Republicans disagree with. So the Democrats will put into place 21st century regulation that will not rein in the market, but allow it to function effectively and fairly, which is something that hasn't been happening. Secondly, the Democrats will focus on the vast majority of Americans. You know, if the middle class isn't doing well, what difference does it make if you've got 1% of the population doing extremely well? And in effect, all of the gains of the prosperity that has been enjoyed during the Bush administration has gone disproportionately to the very wealthiest of Americans, so that people are having a hard time, you know, staying in their homes, being able to afford to send a kid to college, all of the things we know are happening. Thirdly, you're going to see Democrats get back to fiscal responsibility, which is critical if you're going to have a well-functioning economy. We've done this before. We know how to do it. When my husband became president, he inherited what we thought then was an outrageously high deficit of $300 billion. Now it's $500 billion, and we're going to have to get back to putting the people's house in order. 8 years ago, we had a balanced budget and a surplus. We're now the biggest debtor nation in the world. And finally, I think that Democrats know that the crisis we're facing today is not just a frozen credit market crisis or a financial crisis. It's an economic crisis. We've had the worst job creation record since the Great Depression. We're not creating and keeping good jobs. We're not giving people a chance to rise up the ranks and seize the American dream for themselves. So what we'll be doing is investing in infrastructure, clean energy. We'll be creating more new good jobs. And so on any criterion, the Democrats will do a better job, which is why we're going to win this year.
Congressman Lewis, as you know, said that the McCain-Palin campaign is sowing the seeds of hatred on the trail. What's your reaction to that, and how do you think John McCain's running his campaign?
Well, look, I think John McCain said a few days ago that this needed to be toned down, and I agree with that. This election should be about the big issues facing America, and the economy is front and center. It is about the economy. So if you have nothing to say about the economy, don't try to divert the American people. Engage in the debate. And I think that's what we should see over the next couple of weeks, and that sure is what I hope we see.
Do you think the McCain campaign is trying to put the genie back in the bottle after bringing this up, mentioning that Barack Obama pals around with terrorists?
I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't know what they're doing in their campaign. I think that the Obama-Biden campaign has been focused on talking about what people are talking about. What's happening to my 401k? Am I going to be able to retire? You know, how am I going to be able to afford to send my kid to college? That's what's on people's minds. You know, that's what they care about, and that's what Barack Obama and Joe Biden are talking about.
Speaking of the Obama-Biden campaign, we obviously saw you and President Clinton on the stage with Joe Biden today. Will we soon see you and President Clinton on the stage with Barack Obama?
Well, that's up to the Obama campaign. You know, both Bill and I are trying to do everything we are asked to do, and we were thrilled to be in Scranton with Joe and Jill Biden. And, you know, Bill is hitting the trail and barnstorming, and so am I. And we go where we're asked to go, and we're going to do the very best we can to get a great victory on November 4th.
After the election happens, would you consider leaving the Senate if you were offered a high-level cabinet position?
I really don't want to leave the Senate. Number one, I like the Senate. I love representing New York. I know you're a native Buffalonian, and I want to keep working as hard as I can for New Yorkers. We need a very big majority of Democrats in the Senate. And I have a lot of ideas about what to do to help President Obama and Vice President Biden achieve the goals that have been set out in this campaign. So I'm looking forward to playing a very active role in the Senate.
Final question. If I can ask you, Senator Biden today in his speech mentioned that the most serious offense someone can commit while serving public office is to abuse their power. Many people took that as a not so subtle reference to the report that came out on Friday, obviously finding that Governor Palin abused her power while in office. What kind of legacy do you think Governor Palin will leave on this campaign, win or lose?
You know, I'm not a historian or a political pundit. I'll leave that to others. But what I think is critically important to voters who are trying to make up their minds now and not think about history, but think about the present and how much of a dangerous situation we're in, and we have to work our way through it together, is that the McCain-Palin ticket doesn't offer the answers to the problems we face. It's more of the same. It's the same rhetoric. It's the same tactics. It's the same old campaign with the same old tired, failed Republican policies. So I think that is the real contrast that needs to be drawn. You know, the Obama-Biden campaign have come up with really sensible solutions that will help us get back on the right track. And the McCain-Palin campaign hasn't. And that's why I think you're going to see a very big victory for the Democrats this year.